Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Derek, aka Daft Sheep. Good seeing you guys. It's been a while. I know it has been a long, long while. Um, so I need to check actually how long it's been. But I mean, how you doing? You doing good? Go ahead, comment down there how you doing and such. If you got anything I mean to pray about, go ahead and pray about it. But anyways, that's neither here or there. As the potential title would be, as this will say, yes, this is an unboxing video slash an update on why I haven't been on here for so long, and also just like mm, just give me an update on like what I plan to do. So, in any case, good seeing you. So yes, unboxing video, and let me show you what I'm going to unbox. Hopefully this will show up. It is a game design workshop in a box, aka the white box. It is by Jeremy Holcomb. Obviously, this video is not sponsored or anything, but I just wanted to do this because. So, little backstory, real quick, as to why I even got this. It's because actually, just like give me a second. Like next to the window and all that jazz. I'm sorry, I was in there. Anyways, yeah, I think that's a little better. A little better. No, a little better. Anyways, so the reason I got this thing is because of the fact that I was at a local game store slash cafe, and I happened to be looking around, and I happened to see this, um, and I actually saw it this Saturday, and I was in the midst of waiting for something special, which I will bring up in just a moment. But anyways, point is that I saw this and I was like, huh, and it was like a one of those divine moments. Yeah, I guess you would say. You know, it was just like I felt like it was a truly a calling from God. It was just like, hey, like this is a thing you like to do and such. And I showed it to some of my friends via messages, and even some of them had commented. One in particular had commented, "This actually would be the thing for you," and such. So it was just like yesterday I had the funds, and I was just like, you know what, I'll go ahead and get it. It was only $30. Um, if you are interested in this, I'll put the link in a description for the game. But yeah, Atlas Games. So yeah, and I was just like, I'll read it and then I'm gonna open it, of course. So everyone has a game inside them, yeah. And of course, for those of you who are new to this, um, of course, one of the things for the reason why this speaks to me is because I am trying to make my own games, not video games at the moment, although I would really like to. But I've been working on tabletop role playing games, and I'm seriously debating on like I would like to actually go into board games as well, and like I said, video games. And yeah, so that being said, yeah. So it says on the box, everyone has a game inside them. The white box is a learning, planning, and prototyping tool for tabletop game designers like myself. Inside, you'll find the White Box Essays, a book of 25 essays on game design and production. I'm not gonna read that right away, just so you know. I'll read it off to my, for myself. But yeah, just so you know. Um, it covers subjects like where to find a great concept, how to use randomness, what to ask playtesters, whether you should self-publish, how to crowdfund wisely, and what to do at game conventions. Okay, so definitely worthwhile. This box also contains a ton of components to get you designing right away. Colon. So you have 3 counter sheets with 71 pre-printed and 49 blank counters. Okay, let's see what that is. 150 small wooden cubes in 6 colors, 36 wooden meeples in 6 colors, 6 giant wooden cubes in 6 colors, 12 six-sided dice in 6 colors, and 110 plastic discs in 8 colors. I like how the fact that, it's like you get 6 for everything else, but 8 for the, yeah, that's cool. Anyways, if you believe designing board and card games sounds challenging, rewarding, and fun, White Box is for you. Get the game in your head onto the table. A co-production of Game Right and Atlas Games. And it's a physical edition distributed by Atlas Games. Digital editions of the White Box essays are available via Game Right in PDF, EPUB, Kindle, and audiobook formats. Yep, cool. All right, so it has these little tapes. So we're gonna do this, and while I'm doing this, I'll go ahead and talk. So yeah, you're, like I said, for those of you who are subscribing, I got an exacto knife, and I'm like, kind of like off to the side over here. Let me go through these. Let me just do this actually. And do I have any more tape? Nope. Okay. So like I was saying, the main thing. I need to watch this. It's kind of getting a little rusty here, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at that, man. Like, oh, you can't see. I'm like, sorry. It's like, yeah, it's like, I don't know. Anyways, weird. All right. So yeah, I've been busy with life. That's the case. I'm, tailable as old as time. Ooh. Okay. So they started out with this. Okay. All right. I'll open this up a little bit later. And then like the next layer, you have this. So this has the essays. Yes, I do like to smell books. New book. Comment if you like these new books. So by Jeremy Holcomb, and it says the best game ever isn't in this box. It's in your head. Explore your ideas, get them onto the table, test them, refine them, perfect them, and get them into the hands of gamers all over the world. Okay, all right. And there are altogether 208 pages. But in the context altogether, it's 203. It's just, actually 204. 204 pages. It's just everything else like that about the author and such. Okay, cool. Like I said, I'm not gonna read them, but they, like I said, they have all these different essays. So it's like you get a welcome, protect your idea, danger, what a sell sheet is, okay. How to promote your game at a convention without losing your shirt. Okay, well that's interesting. Cool. All right. I am down for that. Yep. And there's like, 25 essays, as it says. Nice. Then we go into here. So it does have like the big cubes. Okay. And it has the little dice like these. Little meeples. Oh, here's the disc. Okay, I can kind of see. Okay, a little disc here. And the little small cubes. And then they have these. Okay, so I guess like these little plastic things. I guess if you're like trying to, they could be for these over here. So okay. So let me go ahead and put this off to the side real quick. And I'm gonna open this up. I will say this, like one of the thoughts that came to mind is I kind of maybe want to do it's like 3 punch boards. Okay. 1 of 3. Okay. So this is the first one. And do they change or actually that's pretty cool. Actually they do change. So they have I'm trying to make it visible. So okay. So they have this one, this is the second one, and then this is the third one. It's just nothing but shapes. But that's actually still cool. Okay, okay, I'm feeling that. Let me actually put this in order though. So I'll put the third one at the bottom, second one, and then the first one. There we go. Okay, that's what we do. That's what we do. And then let me lift up this thing right here and see if there's anything underneath. Yeah, no. So I guess that's it. All right, that's all there is to it. So I guess the question of the day would be, what are you going to do with this? Well, like I said, I do want to take the time to actually learn and try to create some stuff. I have thought about like, for instance, I've been on this verge of like I want to play some strategy games like I like games like Final Fantasy Tactics. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and I actually was thinking about getting the Tactics Ogre Reborn game on Steam because I do PC. So I'm like, cool, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, so that is over and done with. I'll have the essay book out here. But yeah, so there's that. Now we're gonna go on to the next thing, which is the update. So what's been going on? Because I believe the last time was I was talking about still trying to work on ES Punk, if you remember that. I know it's been actually a little over. It's been over a year now, a year and a couple of months since I published the demo for it, and yeah. So try to keep it as long a long story as short as possible, and all the dramatic stuff less, you know, crazy slash, um, all sappy and whatever. The bottom line is that, like I said, I've been dealing with, life. I was trying to do the whole game thing, just focusing on that. But eventually I was like, hey, I gotta try to make some money. Even though I still DoorDash, it just wasn't helping at the time. So I was like, all right, well, I'll go ahead and work. So I went to a job. Let me go ahead and take this off. I can still see, by the way, but it's just a matter of, yeah, I'm declaring it. I'm not a big fan of it. But anyways, and yes, I could have got this scripted and I could have had this edited, whatever, but and eventually in due time, and we'll get to that. But anyways, point is that I I went to a job, worked there for a while, uh, wasn't feeling it. And I was just like, and stuff happened, and then I wound up like going back to just focusing on DoorDash, and in the midst of that, I was on a hiatus. Like I would still draw or I would still think of stuff, but I was just like, I just really wasn't feeling it, and so it got to a point, and not to mention the people I was trying to play with, like I just didn't have the time. And so then at some point, I started getting, when I had more time, I started to work on another game. I drew a picture, and those of you who follow me on Twitter will know this arc. We're gonna call this arcs. So I had the ES Punk arc, and then that happened, and then so I started on Nine Lives, and that was because I drew a picture, and I was just like, man, like this is really cool. So I started, tinkering with it. Was like, hey, is this worthwhile? And so I was like, let's give it a shot. So I started working on that game. And that game actually was going pretty well. Like I still have in mind of working on that as well as ES Punk. However, once again, there's the whole job thing. Like I was teaching for a minute, and I actually, while I was teaching during the summer for a summer camp, I was an art teacher. So as I was working on that, I was like, man, like I was really finding myself defining my art and getting redefining or whatever you want to say, just getting better at it essentially. And the thing was though, like I was struggling like financially, like I was barely making it for rent. Like there was a period where honestly I was like nearly 4 months, 3 months behind on rent because it was just rough. And I made a poor choice that was very impulsive, and I shouldn't have done it, but it happened. But by the grace of God, I got better. Um, but yeah, so at some point, I was like, I had to go look for a job, and but also, and I'll bring this up real quick. I did want to actually go into, there was a program at a community college down near that was like, man, they have a gaming program, and I was like, I really was gung ho about doing that, but I was just like, okay, fine, I'll go do it. A lot of people were in my life were like, hey, you gotta do it, which was understandable, and you know, and they mean well, I know that and such, but yeah, so I, wound up getting a job, and I'm teaching English and such, middle and high school. So yeah, um, and I will say, actually, the week of when I was starting school, met a young woman online, and she's from Canada, so it was a long distance and such. And we started talking and such, and we're still talking. It's been 5 months. You know who you are if you're watching this, and yeah, I did think about actually want to kiss you, like while doing this, but I was like, no, I don't want to like. I mean, I could, but I'm just like, nah. Anyways, plus people might get it wrong. I don't know. Like, this is for the girl. Anyways, yes, I did it. Yay. I keep looking like I'm veering off, and I should be like looking here and such. But anyways, I'll get the hang of this. But yeah, so anyways, that's what I was saying. So yeah, I started talking to a girl and such, and I was working. And at first I was fine. But then there was a period where I started noticing I was getting kind of upset. Like I was feeling burnt out. Like I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't working on Nine Lives. I wasn't working on anything. I couldn't even get into drawing again. And I was just losing all kinds of passion. It was like, even like just at times, even losing passion with, the relationship I was, what I was falling into. And then not to mention even my relationship with, with God, my religion, and church and such. And so I was just like, oh man, like this is like, I don't get this. But I would say this: I remember one time she was the girl I'm talking to. She was just like, why don't you? Because she's like, you sound burnt out. She's like, she asked me, she's like, well, is there something that you like to do that you don't, normally do, like you haven't done in a while, or anything to keep your mind off of things? And so I was like, well, yeah, like normally I like to, work on the game stuff, but, you know, I just, it's been so busy and such. So she said, you should try to take some time to do that. And this happened back around, I want to say September. I think, yeah, it was around September or so. So I was like, okay. So I started thinking about like maybe doing Nine Lives again or ES Punk, but I had all these different ideas. And then one little advice I'll give real quick as far as for people who do get into stuff, whether it be writing or any artistic venue and such. I will say this: don't throw away your ideas right away. Like, kind of shelve them at times. Some things you probably could just be like, okay, I'll just drop this, because you never know, you may come back and it actually may help you out. And the reason I say this is because I had this one idea called Frostbiters, and it was essentially it was a Wendigo based game. So I was like, well, let me look at that. And so I started working on that, and I was just like, thought about the system I wanted to try to do. So, I tweaked it up, did some play testing, with a friend and such. And then over time, it got to a point where it's like, okay, well, feels like a game I want to play. I want to keep on playing. And because I kept working on that, and eventually one of the things that was very off to me was the whole concept of the Wendigo thing. It was like, oh, okay, it's fleshy, blah blah. I mean, don't get me wrong, kind of cool. At the same time, I was just like, it's like it just wasn't set right. Like maybe they could be like villains and such, but to play as, nah, like I could give that to another company or whatever. But that being said, I did have another thing called Nephilim. And in the game, and when I was doing the Wendigo, I started having where people were using powers and they have these marks. And it was at first calling Mark of the Wendigo. And by the way, anybody in the FGC community might recognize it's like kind of an homage to Mark of the Wolves. So I was like, yeah, like that's actually pretty cool. But yeah, so I was just like, well, I have this game Nephilim, and then I thought about it. I was like, well, how do I work that? And so I put it around and I was tweaking it up a little bit. And the one thing about when it came to the Nephilim thing, I thought, okay, this would make sense with the lore in a way of is punk. And it can even, and one of the things I've been doing even with Nine Lives was how can you incorporate each of these games together, kind of like create your own like universe and such. I meant like kind of influenced by things like World Darkness and such, or Pathfinder and blah blah blah. So where they have all these side games and it's like okay, they can be together. But yeah, so I was like, okay, can you do that? And I was like, oh, okay. And so I started doing that. And then it's like, now I'm working on a game called Mark of the Nephilim. And essentially, I'm like, kind of the plan I have in mind is I want to take all these games and like kind of like put them together and just be like, here's this world, here's these type of characters you could play as. They sort of have the same systems, but they also at the same time have their own rules and such. So I'm thinking about doing that. So that's the plan. Hopefully that works out, and hopefully I can get it done by the end of the year. But yeah, and yeah, and so there's a lot of things. So there's that. That's on the game side. As far as life goes, yes, like I said, work, relationship, blah blah blah. So this is where it kind of might sound a little sappy. It might sound a little like depressing and such, but I'm not gonna try to go there. Just bottom line is, I've pretty much been really upset and depressed and just chugging along. You know what I mean? Just like trying to get by. And the one thing that kind of has been upsetting is the whole like job thing again. Like the whole man, like it went back to teaching, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I didn't really. There's some elements I liked, and some elements I didn't like. It, oh, sorry. It pays well. Let me go drink this water real quick. Pays well, yes, but you get upset, whatever, blah blah, all this thing. And the one thing I've been learning is I want to like actually try to get better. And so one of the things I had to do, I felt I needed to do, was go back to therapy. I used to go to therapy about 2 years ago or so, and but I stopped after a while because I was just like, well, for a while I was just like, well, if I was productive and I was doing the things that I like to do and I worked towards those things, it was kind of fine. And that kind of was the case. It was like, okay, you go to work, you do your job, you get paid, and you can also at the same time work on yourself. But that's when I was doing just DoorDash and such. And I was like, all right. But like, now that you have something new, it's like, okay, well, you gotta have to get a new outlet. And one of the things and that was one of the things one of my therapists brought up was like, hey, you should get it. You should find an outlet. And I was like, okay, well, the outlets I like to do, I just don't really have time because focusing on work and then like rest. Maybe I might go to Bible Save and then like I go to DoorDash and all that jazz. So So I'm kind of juggling a lot of things. Not to mention I'm having a long distance relationship, and want to try to keep that as decent as possible. I want to be decent as possible with that, and just struggles. So, but it is what it is. But that being said, though, I was just not happy, and then one of the things that um, another therapist brought up was because it's kind of funny, but I had to like switch therapists and all that. But she was like, when I finished this semester, she was like, "Did you treat yourself?" And I was like, "Ah, not really." So she was like, "Well, you should go treat yourself. Like, you should do that because you did this stuff and blah blah." So, I thought about it, had the fun. So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and buy me some games on Steam, and I bought Disco Elysium and Library of Ruina, and because I've watched some videos about those, and I've been interested in Disco Elysium and Library of Ruina. I'll say real quick, shout outs to Manny Not the Bad Guy, because I watched a video about Roland, and I was like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. So I went and got the games. However, the problem was the laptop I'm working with kind of sucked. So I was just like, man, like it was so slow, and I just couldn't do it, man, for reals. So I was just like, man, I need to get a gaming laptop. Um, so I went to a pawn shop and was just like, I found a gaming laptop, and I was like, word. So I was like, actually dashing a couple of days, and I managed to pay off in like 2 weeks. So I was just like, yeah, I'm like, I'm really happy about this. But yeah, and I just actually got it this Saturday, and now, which was part of the reason why, one, I was at the shop, and then two, to get this, you know, this, and then also because I was in the midst of, I was waiting for at that coffee shop because I was on my 5th month anniversary with the girl I'm talking to. Um, so yeah, and so it was all swell and been setting up. Um, I like got the games and such, and I'm just like, now I'm just like, okay, you know what? I want to get on it. And so the one of the things, kind of think it's just like a New Year's resolution slash just life resolution, because I started watching some videos. One of the videos I started watching, I can't remember the name of the channel or anything, but it just kind of got recommended to me. And again, it just felt like a divine calling and such. I was just like, man, like, oh, it's like a blessing, dude. Like, oh, I needed to hear this. Like, it's just, getting your life together, like, at 30, in your 30s and such. And one of the things it was talking about was essentially, don't go with the flow of like things that um like the norm or whatever. Like, yes, get a job. Yes, you gotta do these things. But if there's like a strong passion that you discover and then you like, I really want to just do that, like you should just go for it and don't worry. And essentially have, if you got support and such, and I'll say be wise about it, be smart. Don't just jump into it, but be like, really think it over. You know, if you pray, meditate, whatever, but think it over. Give yourself some time to think about it and be like, this is what I would like to do. And so that's why, for instance, I got that book. I actually got that book yesterday because as I was listening to that video, I was just like, it was just kind of clicking. I was like, dude, I really want to get that book. I really want to get that. Get that box, get that game, because I really want to work on stuff. And I was like, if this is gonna help me towards my goals of like, I want to go into game design, I want to make games and such. I'm like, all right, let me go for it. So that's what I did. One thing I will say is that one of the things that came to mind too is like, I want to go for that for those classes. I want to get that it's 4 classes and you get, a basic game design certificate and such. So, and I was gonna do that last fall, literally, but I was just like, because I needed it. And then, like I said, it has been helpful, like what I'm doing now. So I'm not gonna discredit this. I'm not gonna discredit, what I have now. The only thing I could just say is that I really want to get better at this stuff. I want to get better at um, achieving my goals. And one of the things I thought about was like for a long time, for a long period, I have been like, I feel like at times, like I make choices. Not all of them are bad, but I make some choices where I tend to regret later on. And it's just like, oh, I could have done better. Like, for instance, as I was waiting for the schools to start, a friend of mine was like, "Hey man, like you do all this artwork, why don't you go into like graphic design or storyboarding and blah blah blah?" And I didn't think I could do it, but eventually, I actually applied, and I did get an interview for a graphic artist job, and I was blown away. I didn't even think I could do that. But that being said, I mean, my advice I could give to people is just, you know, if there's something that you do like to do, there's something you want to do, and if it is like, profitable, or if you can live off of, if you're already having a job and you're able to do that thing, so be it. Just go for it. You know what I mean? And don't, it's a basic. Don't tell yourself no. Like that's one of the issues I was having for a long time. It's like I was just saying no to myself because, oh, I don't think I have this. I don't think I could do that. Well, you don't know. And so, yeah. And so that being said, one of the things I'm going to start doing is, like I've been strongly thinking about it, and I'm like, I want to start like having a routine. So not focus all the time on like say door dashing, blah blah blah. But I want to do things like every so often I want to go back into gaming, and I was even thinking about I want to start streaming. So hopefully, in due time, you'll see me streaming videos, possibly on Twitch and such. So be on the lookout for that. I do want to go into, like I said, I want to work on my games, and also at the same time, I do want to work on some writing because I haven't written anything in a while. Like, I mean, I've written like, of course, I'm writing down stuff for like the games, but I'm talking about like maybe write a book or write a play or write a screenplay and such. It's been a long while since I've done that. So I want to go back into that. And I just want to, in general, just want to be able to enjoy life and be able to enjoy the people in my life. And I gotta say, like, it is sad when you look at yourself and you're like, man, like I feel terrible. And I mean, I'm gonna say, like, real quick, I really do feel blessed that the girl I have right now, I hope that eventually we do become, husband and wife, and hopefully this doesn't get all dated and be like, oh man, why did I say all that? But no, like I do hope to do that. She's been wonderful, very supportive, and that's actually been kind of what's been helping me. And I know, like, I know God's been helping me a lot, and He has been blessing me in many ways. But yeah, and so I want to get on that. I want to get on like the gaming stuff. Like I literally was just talking to my art friend, uh, one of my best friends in the world. Actually, I was talking to him about the whole um, want to possibly do like concept art for games and such. And he was telling me like, hey, you could try taking these classes. You should try and learn these things. And I was a little hesitant. And like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I really was. I really am. And but it kind of hit me afterwards. I was like, you know what? Why not do that stuff? Why not, go out and write and draw and whatever? Why not like take these courses? And so yeah, um, I have plans in mind, but even at the same time, I'm a little hesitant on like how to go about it. I do know I want to take that course, but that means I want to take those classes, but that usually means like you can't really have a full time job because you have to be in there. Maybe if I could find something in the evening or just DoorDash or whatever, I'll have to see. But yeah, and like I said, I'm gonna get stuff out there for you guys. I'm gonna actually create more content. I'm actually thinking about uploading videos. Like I want to do video essays. I want to do little skit stuff on this channel, and yeah, and and I'm gonna say this one little bit real quick. I um I sometimes I will say hey, I do covet a bit at times. I do at times feel like I look at others and I think to myself, man, you're able to do this, you're able to create that, or whatever. And but the thing is that like I shouldn't have to feel that way, you know. And I know it's like because that's my sense and such. But the thing is that I could be doing that too, and I was for a moment doing that stuff. I just had to get into the game and just plan things out. And so yeah, and again, like one of the things I want to do when it comes to my stuff is I like I've always had a dream when I was younger of just inspiring others in some way, you know. And it's funny enough, also I used to when I was younger, when I was like actually in middle school, high school, I wanted to go into like business. I actually wanted to do like business stuff, and I was a little bit of like business law, but I wanted to make it, I wanted to have my own business. And if I actually always wanted to even make games, I was always interested in that sort of stuff. I mean, I like comics and I like video games and even board games and card games and such. I've been getting into like Magic. Um, but yeah, that being said, though, it's like, why not do that? I screwed myself up over a decade because I was like just messing around, not walking around aimlessly, kind of just going with the flow type thing. But it's about time to just say, like, you could do this stuff, but you gotta be wise. But also at the same time, you gotta be courageous and just own it. Um, I'll. I know a lot of people don't like the original Suicide Squad movie, but there was a moment in there that I really liked, and it always sticks to me. And it's when it's a bit with Diablo spoilers. Um, it's a bit where Diablo he's talking about like what happened, what he did. I'm not going to talk about what he did, but then Harley Quinn says to him, "Own it." She's like, "Own that because you did it." And that's the thing. It's like sometimes you're just gonna have to you make these choices, whether it's good or bad, and you own it. And so that's why I say like, despite how I might feel about my job or my living situation, blah blah blah, and I'm gonna just be like, I own it. And by the way, also one of the things too that did help me, I almost forgot to mention that, was that one of my roommates had moved out, and I was like, sweet, like just more space. So it actually helped me a lot better that way of just feeling alive and be in my own home. So yeah. But that being said, it's good to see y'all. It's good to hear from you. And like I said at the beginning of the video, like I kind of want to do a thing where like for real. And this isn't like a well, I don't know. The point is that like um I was just saying, like, if there is something going on in your life and if you want somebody to pray for you, I could pray for you and such. And so you go ahead and leave it. And yeah, and hopefully, we'll see how things go. I just want to do things for fun. So yeah. In any case, you take care and you have a blessed one. Catch you later. Yeah.